massive. Wicked, wicked. West Ham are massive. Wicked, wicked. Jungle is massive. Wicked. Yo, 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 yo. West Ham are massive. Everywhere we go. West Ham are massive. Tell them how we got this skill. West Ham are massive. Everywhere we go. West Ham are massive. Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. West Ham are
Morning, everyone. We did it. We did it. I'm back from Prague. I've had one hell of a week, and I'm bursting to talk about it. I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. I'm going to go through a lot of videos, a lot of photos. I think at the end, I'm going to be quite self-indulgent, but bear with me. Bear with me. I hope you enjoy it. There's a lot of quality stuff on here. And at the end, I've got an outro that you might not have heard, but it's something special. So bear with me. A lot of emotion tied up in this as well. I've invested a lot in this. So look, before I start, give this video a watch if you like it. Please subscribe to our channel, Claret and Booze, even on YouTube. Give us a like and hit the bell notification icon. So what happened? What happened? Before I start, in fact, right? There's very few video clips that I've seen that can capture the emotion from all of us, no matter where you watched it. On Wednesday night. It was outstanding, as we know, right? But sometimes it takes a young kid to explain what it means. Here you go.
Absolutely amazing. This is the best night of my life ever. I just can't believe I'm here. I think I'm dreaming. I just can't believe West Ham have won something. We won more titles than Spurs, and I just can't believe this. Come on, you ones. West Ham are the best club in the world. I'm saying it. West Ham are the best club in the world. Come on, you are.
How good was that, eh? How good was that? What a fantastic young fan. Brilliant. Look, I think it caught most of us like that. There were a lot of tears around the stadium the other night. And yes, I was lucky enough to be inside the stadium. So I'm going to talk to you about my trip. You know, by the way, thanks to my wife, because she let me go 7th of June is her birthday. So I needed special dispensation to go, but there was no way she was going to be horrible and stop me, because she knew it was a long, long time. And it might be a long time until this thing happens again, right? So traveling out there, it was unbelievable how many people were on both of the planes. We went from Gatwick out to Prague, out to Frankfurt, and then from Frankfurt onto Prague. And the amount of people on the plane, some of them were going again via Dresden and whatever else. They were going to get there whatever way they could get there. You know, nothing was going to stop them. And the atmosphere was brilliant. And little things like little touches from Lufthansa. You know, the Germans bought into it big time. And you know, when you were landing, and the stewardess just comes over the tannoy and says, "Good luck to the West Ham." There's like big cheers on the plane, loads of singing. The people in passport control between the two flights, they were cheerful. They were happy, saying good luck to West Ham. Absolutely brilliant. A lot of them were Frankfurt fans, actually, from last year. So they've had one over us on us already. But yeah, I got there really late on Tuesday night, just in time to unpack and go to bed. Got up and I was feeling ill, you know, really ill. I had a cold and everything, and I've been taking Beecham's, trying to sort of get my head around it. Anyway, woke up the following day, and as if by magic, for the first time in a week, I actually felt quite good. I felt quite good. So cup final day, my cold was on its last legs. West Ham were in a final, and I was off down to the old town to meet up with some friends. And I'm going to be, like I said at the beginning of this, a little bit self-indulgent at the end of this video when I talk about those friends. But yeah, we met up and we had some lunch, and then at this time, I didn't know I was going to have a ticket or not. I got told I will probably get one, but I didn't want to until it was on my phone. I weren't gonna count my chickens, right? So the idea was I was going to go to the fan zone with my cousin and his wife, my cousin Paul, and so he went up there early on and sort of had a look at it. He said it's massive. But they're expecting like 25,000. It could reach capacity, and if you don't go up there and get a wristband, you ain't going to get in later, possibly. So I thought, I'll sod this. I've got to play both sides. So I went up to the fan zone. Me, Chris Miles, his son Hugh, and Phil Pitt. We went up to the fan zone, and it was about 1:30 in the afternoon, and it was already filling up nicely. The beer tents were already mobbed out. There was a little crowd growing at the front. Chris Skull was on stage. And I took this little video because while we were there, Ludo came on stage, and you know, it was something else. It was something else. And guess what? I can't find the Ludo video. Where is it? Anyway, this is typical of me. This is how this is probably going to go, right? Ludo, it's a lovely video. I'll post it separately. Ludo was on stage. He said his voice was breaking. He sort of said, you know, you're my family, and you could tell he was filling up. His tears were coming and everything else. He said, I'm so proud for you guys to be here in my home country and everything else. He said, you are my family, and it was just so touching. It was so touching. A beautiful moment. Anyway, after that, we left and we went back down to the old town to meet up with a few people. And the old town square, it was heaving. Right, here's a bit of it. I mean, this doesn't show you the full extent of how packed it was, because this is the bit that wasn't, right. But honestly, you should have seen it. You had to see it to believe it. Right. So we drank all day. We drank all day till about 6 o'clock. And then we got onto, you know, I did get a ticket. I got a ticket in the end. And we were told at about 6 o'clock to start making our way up to the stadium. And you know, we did it right, but still, even though I've got the ticket on my phone, there's a couple of barriers to get through. You know, they said your phone had to be Bluetooth enabled. They're going to scan it. They're going to do some sort of scan. So you're sort of thinking, oh, please let me get in. Please let me get in. In the end, we, you know, about 20 minutes on the tram, we got there. We got there, and it was a, you know, sort of innocuous looking stadium on the outside. It was a you know, quite small, 20,000, whatever else. It was you know, inside we cleared the barriers, we got inside, and the atmosphere started to build. We were in there over 2 hours early. Is the first sight of the actual stadium. It was actually a lovely little stadium. Outside, it started to build. You know, we chatted to Tony Gow. It's funny because, you know, TC was there. You chat with him. Ian Bishop was there. I had a photo done with him. Tony Gow, we recently went to Phil Parks' daughter Marie passed away a few weeks ago, and she was part of our friendship group and West Ham, and I'm going to touch on all those at the end. And Tony remembered us from the funeral, so we had a chat with him. Lovely man he is, really lovely man. And we just bumped into so many people and had such a good time for you know, before the game. The time flew by, absolutely flew by. Finally, I went to see my old mate Dodsey, who I've making a habit of seeing at games lately. He's kind of the latest in West Ham friends that I'm collecting, and they're all lovely. They're all lovely. But Dodsey, he lives down in the southwest, like Somerset and around there. I know he flies into Taunton anyway, but he's been to literally every single West Ham game this year, no matter where. This was his 61st game. His 61st West Ham game. I doubt there are many other people that have done that. So we just spoke about it and how special it was, and the fact that it felt like it's the West Ham family. Whether you were in the town square, in the fan zone, no matter where you watch this game, you're part of the West Ham family. And I got to my seat, and I was given a really, really special seat. It was next to the players' families, but it was just down the side, and all my little group of friends were over behind the goal. So not behind the goal, like, you know, where the players celebrated at the end, between the corner flag and the goal. That's where they were. So they called me over, and I went over there and stood with them, and it was like 3 rows from the front. You could not get a better view. It was fantastic, especially when you consider what was about to unfold, right? And I mean, the game itself, the first half was grim. They started the cheating very early on, didn't they? With Gonzalez holding his face and literally winding the crowd up. And it was, I think, 10 minutes in the first 10 minutes, the referee had actually done quite well and not given 3 bits of cheating that they attempted. But you could see Gonzalez, especially, who had gone down right in front of us holding his face. You could see that no one had touched him. It was a clear dive. And yet he was moaning in the referee's ear 5 minutes later. And so in the end, after about 10 minutes, the referee seemed to fall for it and he started giving everything their way. A succession of really, really bad decisions. It wound the crowd up. The crowd didn't react very well, right? And like I said to you, we were 3 rows from the front. So you couldn't have had a better view of what actually happened. Beer started teaming down, and I mean all over us. It was like it was wet, right? One beer flew straight past my head. I mean, you got to consider these are plastic glasses. By the time they reach the pitch, they're empty. No one's getting hurt with a plastic glass. They were, there was nothing now, right? I know some of the players, the Fiorentina players, were winding us up even more. One of them picked one up and drunk from it. He was mocking us. The guy who was taking the corner, he got hit by a missile. And I think that missile, I was told, was a vape. Now, that is out of order. That is out of order. So, that could have been dangerous. But that's one missile, one dangerous missile. So let's not blow this out of all proportion, right? We were turning around in the front there because the guys in front of us, especially, were getting really, really pissed off with people throwing the beer down. Just stop throwing the beer. So we were begging people, stop throwing the beer. And then the thing that really did it was the players came across and said, calm down. And they did. And after the players did that, I swear for the rest of the game, I think there was 2 more beers that landed. But other than that, the rest of people behaved themselves from that point on. So look, well done. Emotions were high. Emotions were high. Whoever threw that vape or whatever it was, you're an idiot and you're going to be banned for life, right? Fucking good job as well. I hope they find you. Anyway, that's the only negative. That is literally the only negative, because from that point on, look, we had a goal disallowed just before half time. It was a terrible game of football. Let's be honest, it was a terrible game of football. And in the second half, we came out. It was more of the same, really. It was more of the same. But then as time wore on, you started to think spaces start to appear and stuff like that. And Bowen was starting to get more and more involved. And from a throw-in, Bowen challenges for the ball. Their defender handballs it. It's gone to VAR. You know when the referee goes to the screen what he's going to do. And lo and behold, just like the Premier League, he gives a penalty. We knew there was no doubt with Ben Rama. Ben Rama is a great penalty taker. So he steps up, does what Ben Rama does, puts it away, puts it basically halfway up the net to the right hand side. You've all seen it anyway. I won't describe it. Straight away they respond. They score. I think what caught them out, I mean, I've got to be honest, when I look at it and when I watch that goal back, I do think that Agued was a little bit lapse in turning his back, but you've got to give the guy who scored credit for getting the shot away early, I think. Because that is always a winning tactic to do that, to my mind. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, that was 1-0, and we were thinking, I'm sure you were as well. We're thinking, oh God, we've blown it. Here we go. And we were just going towards extra time. It was very much an end-to-end game, but they seemed to be getting the better of it. They had a pretty good chance with a left-footed shot just towards the end, and it got to the 90th minute, and we know what happened next. A beautiful through ball from Paquetá. Bowen running towards us. I knew he would score. I absolutely knew he would score, because in that situation, you wouldn't choose anyone else. He's done it so many times before. When the heat's really on, just goes to show, a European final, our first trophy in all these years. His whole in-laws are West Ham supporters, right? The weight of the world on his shoulders. He didn't care. He's top drawer. He really is top drawer. And the celebrations that happen when that goal went in, it's just wild, right? Absolutely wild. We've been in, I think we've celebrated some goals in a wild way before. For instance, Vaztey at Wembley, but double that, add 5, and you get somewhere near to the celebrations, because we're thinking only injury time to go. In my mind, as a West Ham fan, I'm thinking back to 2006 and what happened with Scaloni and Gerrard. You think you're never home to your home, right? Home to your home. So we're all biting our nails. All people in London, people at the Orbit, people in the fan zone, we're biting our nails. 5 minutes turned, it went to over 8 minutes, and then it all finishes. They get a free kick, and we're thinking, oh my God, and the keeper's gone up for it. You just, oh no, please don't let this happen. Anyway, as it turned out, Areola came out, threw a dummy and let the ball go out of play. Goal kick, game over. Cue the biggest celebrations I think I've seen at West Ham, following in all my years of following West Ham. And I just want to show you what happened in the final whistle where we were. You know, just happened right in front of us. You can literally touch it. It was surreal, to put it mildly, right? We're hugging everybody, cuddling everybody, people I knew, people I didn't know. All the players came running over to our corner. Deck was on his hands and knees. He had his like face buried in the turf. He was clearly crying. Noble was crying. All of the substitutes came on. You know, the likes of Cresswell, who'd lost his first team place. He came on and he was absolutely loving it, buzzing. Skamaka, who we ain't seen for ages, was buzzing, absolutely loved it. Everybody, literally everybody, even Maxwell Cornet, who's played very little minutes in this tournament, but absolutely delighted. All the youth team players. There was such unity there with the players and the fans. It was just like, it felt like we were in sync with them, you know. He was singing songs to Paqueta and he had his boy on his shoulders and he's singing the song back, you know. And it's like, and then the players went away. You know, we cheered as Fiorentina. More about them soon. We cheered as they collected their medals. But then it was time for us. It was our time, and Deck was going to hold up that trophy. And then straight after they'd finished holding up the trophy, they brought the trophy over to us, and we were singing Bubbles, right? And here's how it went, because if you zoom in on this, the players are singing Bubbles as well. It was a magical moment. Well, you know, we'd done it, and we stayed in there for ages. We left, I don't know, we left the ground about 12:30, went on forever. Eventually, the players had to be coaxed off the pitch by UEFA, I heard. It was a true night out with the West Ham family. We went outside later on, hugging everybody, more strangers, more people we knew, and then we started the long walk back uphill to the metro station, which was ridiculous. I got to be honest. So like 1 o'clock in the morning, and me and two guys with us, we were all staying at the airport. So I thought, oh, sod this, we're just going to get in a cab and go back to the hotel. So knackered, been at it all day, right? So I went back to the hotel just as well anyway, because had we got all the way back to the old town, it was shut. We forgot about that curfew they've got in Prague, but there was only a couple of bars open and they were rammed. And I think someone went back there and went for a kebab and went back to their hotel. So look, that's my only criticism of Prague. It shuts too early. And go to that stadium, try and get back to the old town afterwards, nightmare. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of a cough. A couple of things that I think were quite funny. There's an astronomical clock, the oldest astronomical clock in the world. Here it is. Right, and you know, massive cultural attraction, and it's got a chime on it, you know, and it's a bit of a tame chime. Anyway, when it went off, and it's surrounded by West Ham, they started singing "You're Just a Shit Big Ben" to it. I love that. That is so West Ham. And you know the Paqueta song, the latest Paqueta song. Well, there's another version of that. It starts off with "Madness" driving in my car, right? And there's that bit of that goes, I bought it in Muswell Hill from a bloke from Brazil. And then it goes, just sold my car to Lucas Paqueta. Ah, it's funny. We have got humour. We have got humour. And I tell you what, we start most of these songs. Other people pick them up. We all remember Abu and Carnu, don't we? Arsenal. Right. Anyway. Cheats. Fiorentina cheated. They cheated all the way through that game. They cheated before. I mean, the first 10 minutes they were cheating. They were cheating immediately. That is clearly the way they play, right? That is the way they play, and there's not much you can do about it. There's not much you can do about it. But I'm really proud of us because what we did as West Ham, I don't know if you know this, but if you don't, you should. We finished top of the Fair Play League. 0 red cards, only about 43 yellow cards last season. So we ain't only done this, and we played Europe in the same way. Some people were saying, "Oh, we're too naive. We're getting caught out. We can't do the shithousery and stuff like that." Never once did we resort to shithousery. Fiorentina, that's their default setting. That's what they do is shithousery, right? No way would I protect someone from throwing a missile. That was wrong. But the beer, which was relatively harmless but an annoyance, right? That came about largely because of their shithousery. And their president, who's apparently a bit of a pretend mafioso, is coming out and complaining and saying how we're animals and how we do this. Listen, I was so close, I could see how many beer glasses ended up on the pitch. I estimate probably 40 from thousands of people, plus one dangerous missile, right? Not protecting that. So it weren't many people, right? It weren't many people. People got carried away, and to an extent, you can understand why they got carried away. Just wish they didn't throw the beer. But anyway, because it's giving them something to moan about. Now they're moaning. They're asking for an investigation. Go away. Stop moaning. You lost. He's saying that his captain, who got hit with a missile, he was put off. He weren't any more put off, got to be honest, than our players who had to get involved and tell us to stop throwing beer, right? So look, shut up, go away. You wouldn't be complaining. You wouldn't even be mentioning it had you won. So it's just bitter, sore losers. A horrible team. And we, like I said at the beginning, through playing fair, not resorting to shithousery, we've not only stayed up in the Premier League, we've won a major European trophy. That's how you do it, West Ham. That's how you do it. Honest football. A victory for honest football. So after all that, yeah, it was the long journey home. And I've got to say, the sight of 50 to 100 West Ham sprinting through Frankfurt Airport yesterday was a sight to behold. All different shapes and sizes, trying to make it, because we literally had 5 minutes to spare between connecting flights. But we did make it, and we got home. Not in time for the parade because it was a bit delayed. I was a bit annoyed that they put the parade on yesterday, but then I sort of thought, well, I was so tired, I probably wouldn't have gone along anyway, and I didn't need to go along. Let's face it. I mean, according to Ian Dale and Ben Shepherd on the telly this morning, they reckon there was like hundreds of thousands there, a couple of 100,000. There was, and when you see some of the pictures, you wouldn't really doubt that, would you? When you consider how many we took out to Prague, and most of those people were either still there or travelling back, probably a handful of them had come back. These were additional to the 40,000 probably that ended up in Prague, right? We've got so many supporters. We are such a well-supported club. And by and large, nothing can be perfect, but we're as near perfect as you're going to get in a fan base. And this is the self-indulgent bit that I'm gonna say. A few words to my West Ham friends. I was out there. One of whom got me a ticket. I'll always be grateful for that. My little group of Jackie, Gary North, Chris Miles, his son Hugh. I met my cousin Paul and his wife Cheryl out there, Phil Pitt, Nigel King. Anyway, these are names you might not know. But some you might know are if you was a fan of the fanzine Fortune's Always Hiding, that appeared for 17 editions, I think, in the was it the late 90s or the early 90s? I think it was anyway, can't remember. But that was run by Don Peretta and North Bank Norman Steve Rapport. He was out there as well. Known them for a long time. And my West Ham sort of friendship group has grown because I was in this email list years ago in the late 90s. And that was run by Steve Rapport. And we had loads of people on there. We even had the club Rev at the time, Elwyn Cockett. We had Ian Dell. We had loads of people. It was fantastic group. And we had so many characters on there, and Martine and people like that as well. And then it changed. The email group got superseded by Facebook, and then Stop Hammer Time came around, which was the first West Ham podcast. It's run by Phil Whelans and Jim Grant and Pete May, and we got involved with them, and they started doing live shows. So we went along to a few live shows, and a lot of people from the old list made friends with the Stop Hammer Time lot. And then we met Jackie Hughes, who's a real close friend. She and the best networker you're ever going to meet. Right, so we've ended up with this group of people has just grown organically over the years. Everyone's lovely, but I just love my West Ham family, and I also love my family and my actual family, and there's a few people who couldn't be there. Nick was back in the Black Lion with my son Ross, and they were with Nigel Khan and Virgil of the Marshes and his son Freddie. Looks like they had an absolutely fantastic time. And a special mention as well to, I hung around. I met so many people who came up and shook my hand and said they watched Claret Booze. Thanks for that. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. A group that I started chatting to in the airport in Prague, a family with youngsters, and they'd all been out there. They've been in the fan zone and absolutely loved it. And what a memory as a youngster to have something like that. And that's where I sort of started to feel a little bit teary. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be lovely if I, my family, my kids there as well. But, and then you start to think all the people who are no longer here, my dad, me and Nick's dad, my granddad, all these people, especially my dad, who was a West Ham season ticket holder for years. He would have loved this. He would have absolutely loved this, and he loved the West Ham supporters. He really did. And people we've lost in our West Ham family as well. Like Colin Milne, who went to the 1976 European Cup final, and again Marie, who we lost a couple of weeks ago. What a miss she is. But I'm sure they all enjoyed the game. I'm sure they saw it. I'm sure they're sharing in our happiness. So whether you're my natural family or my West Ham family, I love you all. And this is something special. I want to thank the team. I want to thank David Moyes. I want to thank all the backroom staff for giving us something truly special. I'm not in the mood to talk about the future, what might not happen. I'm just happy. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for us. I'm happy for everybody that's not seen us win a trophy before. This is a first for you. It's been a long time coming, and there is probably, if I'm being honest, sometimes if you've got a good memory like me and you go back to 1981, the Coventry semi-final of the League Cup, it was, I think, the second leg, and we won it. And we couldn't get tickets. Me and my dad were listening to it in our old house in Eric Street in Mile End. We were listening to it on the radio live, and it was like you were there. It wasn't live on TV. You could only listen to it on the radio. And sometimes a radio commentator can paint pictures that in your mind, that if they're good at it. And so I want to share with you, as an outro to this show, a special outro, I want to share with you 1 minute 46 seconds of 5 Live from the other night, because I think this is genuinely special. See you soon. Come on, you European winning Irons. Love you all.
Finding a way for a goal kick, and are we even going to have time for the goal kick? And now there's a bit of push and shove. The full-time whistle blows. delight. And I'll tell you what, Scott, when you have worked that long in football and had some great times, but had some real heartbreak as well, you can't help but feel pleased for him. He's dancing, David Moyes. The West Ham players are all dancing as well. It's an incredible sight to behold inside the Eden Arena, because away to our left, fans in bright purple in tears stood still, applauding their heroes. But away to the right, it's dancing, it's singing, it's jumping, it's celebrating. It's West Ham's night, a first major trophy since 1980. They've beaten Fiorentina by 2-1, and I think that is my voice about done. Scott Minto.
Well, honestly, I think again we've talked about finding ways to win.